Hey guys, welcome to the first lecture. So this is an interface overview. We not going to be going through the entire interface, but just roughly those basics that you need to know to orbit around and etc. So without any further ado, let's jump into this. So this is a default Blender with the default layout. If you go to File, just create a new file. This is what you'll get. So the camera object, which is a cube in this case, and a light to light up your scene. And this over here, which is called a 3D cursor. So this actually controls where your object will be. Let me say I delete this cube. So to delete an object, you press X on your keyboard and press delete. Or you can come up over here and right click and you can delete. Fine. Now I've deleted the object. I want to add object again. So to add an object, you press Shift A on your keyboard. And again, you can see the shortcuts over here, guys. Okay, Shift A, go to Meshes and Cube. Now notice how the cube exactly entered where the cursor is, exactly at the center. So if I move this cursor, so to move the cursor, you go over here, click the 3D cursor. And if you click and drag, you can basically move it. Now, if I Shift A again, go to Meshes and add Cube, notice how this moves and adds in the other area where the 3D cursor is. So that's just the basics. There's more to this and stuff. So press X again to delete. So to remove the 3D cursor back where it's supposed to be at the center world, press Shift S on your keyboard and go to Cursor to World Origin. Now it's back over here, which pretty much simple. So there's an outline over here. So there's groups, which is called collection, where basically you can group all your objects, and you can also delete objects and duplicate whatsoever. So we're going to be going through that as we go along. And let me just move this. Let me just go back to selection, and we have selection tools. So you use to select your objects. There's tons of them. If you hold and click, you can use all of these ones over here. And if you hover over, it kind of tells you even the shortcuts and what it does. And then we went through this, the 3D cursor to control it. And then we have the moving tool to move our camera around up and down in the Y and the Z axis. Or rotates, as you can see, to rotate your object, and also to scale the objects. And then you have the transform tool, which has all of these all together. So rotate, scale, and move. And then annotations, I'm going to use it to just draw some guidelines for you guys during this course, and to measure your object, which is not important, and this is not important for this lecture, which we will never be going to use. Now I've showed you guys the move and whatsoever. So there is a shortcut to doing that, which I recommend, which we're going to be using for this entire course. Press G on the keyboard, you can move your object up and down. If you press G and X, you're going to move it in the X axis, and you press Z in the Z axis, and press Y in the Y axis alone. But if you just press G alone, you will just move it in all the axes. And then press R to rotate. Again, it works if you press RY. You can rotate on the Y axis alone, and Z and then X works the same. Now, if you want to pan around and orbit around your object, middle mouse click and drag to rotate around the object. And to zoom in and out, just use the scroll wheel, or just use middle mouse and Control or Command if you're on a Mac. And then Shift to pan around, as you can see. So that's the object. So to switch to front and side, left and right, I use a shortcut. So if you middle mouse click and hold on outer option, you basically snap. You can see I'm in the right orthographic view. And if I move to the other side and press out, it will snap to the front. And if you want to go to the bottom view, just press, it will snap like that. Now it's on the left whatsoever. So if you want to snap, I use that, or you can just use these ones over here around the circle, the Z whatsoever, which takes time. I strongly recommend just using the shortcuts. And also you can use this to rotate, and this to zoom in and out, and this to pan, and this to switch to view in the camera. And I just strongly recommend the shortcuts. And over here you can see the numpad 0 for those shortcuts. And also we have orthographic. If you want to work in orthographic view, just click over here. Now it's in user perspective. So that's for this lecture. And this is just going around what you're gonna need to orbit around your model. So this is a 3D scenes, and there's different types of layouts that we're gonna be using. For example, we in layout, we are the default, and we're gonna be using modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture painting, and also shading in this lecture. So we are going to be going through that as we go along. There's tons of things to look at over here, but as long as you understand the basics, and also if you want to hide your object, click on your object and press H, and if you unhide, it's Alt H, or you can just press this light switch over here, this eye switch, to turn it on and off. And if you want to zoom in, just press the dots and you just zoom in frame like that. And if you want to isolate, just press Shift H. It will basically hide everything else, and then just show what you have selected. And then to show it again, it's Alt H again to show everything. So that's the basics of a Blender, and I hope to see you in the next lecture where we're gonna start. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next one.